You titled the album Where Does Happiness Come From? Right? So what pushed you to put that question forward?
Someone that is in a financial struggle, for example, will tell you without any hesitation that it's money. That's what he needs or she needs at that point in time. But someone with a lot of money will tell you that money doesn't bring happiness. Do you know what I mean? So I think for me, happiness comes from sort of perspective, understanding who you are, first knowing yourself, and then keeping the right people around you. Every single person is the only version of themselves that could exist. Nobody is Victoria Ndu.
Absolutely.
And you have a responsibility, like I have a responsibility, to be the best version of myself, not the best Kuti, but the best Mádé Kuti.
Welcome to season 3 of Voices with Victoria. This is where it shifts. We're going to be anchoring real conversations on deep truths, on strategies, behind the scenes, and many more with fabulous and deep individuals. My message is clear in this season. We don't have to have it all figured out. For some of us, we're winging it, but the most important thing is that you move regardless. And I've been honored and privileged to sit with amazing guests who will be taking us through their behind the scenes, who would also be sharing insight, strategies on how they're able to navigate their lives. I believe strongly that nobody has it all figured out 100%. However, when we look back, we should be able to say that we winged it right because of certain lessons, experiences, expertise, education, and exposure that we've been able to come in contact with. And I do hope that this season will do all of this and more for you. Follow us on all our social media handles at Victoria Ndu and Voices with Victoria. And if any of the episodes speaks to you, do well to share with your community of friends and let us know as well. Do enjoy a great time. This is where it shifts. Hello, welcome again to another episode of Voices with Victoria. My name is Victoria Ndu, and it's such a great delight today in the studio because we have someone very, very, very awesome in the studio with us today to share. You can tell from my voice, you can tell from my face that I'm super excited about this particular conversation. In fact, in the studio right here, we're all excited to have him with us today, and I'm sure that you will know why when I'm done with the introduction. Just to do a brief introduction on who we have here today. He's one of those people whose name comes with history, with a sound, even before they make any notes, right? But what is striking for me is not just the weight of the legacy which he leaves, it's how intentional and grounded he handles it. And somebody who is making his own path, regardless of the weight of legacy that his name brings as well. Today, my guest is none other than Mádé Kuti, right here in the studio.
Hello.
Please, standing ovation, clapping ovation, smiling ovation, and all the ovation necessary as we introduce our guest here today. Hi, Mádé, how are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
I'm happy that you're here today. Please, honorable mention. He is married to a very, very beautiful, delectable woman, Nedu Kuti. She's saying hi somewhere, but please do well to give her a vision as she deserves as well. We're getting right into the conversation. It's not just about legacy. It's not just about craft. We want to know you as a person. We want to know what you're building, the thoughts behind the things that you're building. And I'm sure that many young people and even older people will be able to connect to the things that you're going to share here today. I am particularly looking forward to, knowing the you come with this aura, that people want to know the behind the scene. People can see, this guy has got his life all figured out. Oh my God, I want to be like him Mádé and all of that. What are the processes and, the conversations that you have with yourself as much as you're willing to share? So that's what we want to have here today.
Okay.
Yes, great. So you're good to go?
I'm good to go.
You're ready?
Ready.
Amazing. He's ready. Usually, as is with my culture here on the show, I've done a brief introduction, but I always like my guests to also introduce themselves.
Okay.
So who is Mádé?
Okay. Mádé's full name, I guess, is Omori Mádé.
Yes.
Which means the child walks to get his crown. Omori Mádé. And My other names are Olufela, Olufemi, my grandfather's name and my father's name. Afolabi Oluwadamilare and Mádé Kuti. This guy is a musician, songwriter, performer, composer and arranger, producer, and a brother, son, and nephew and husband.
Amazing.
And yeah, that's it.
That's a beautiful summary, and the name, that's so striking, really. And that name leads me to my first question I'm going to be asking you. The Kuti name carries this strength, history. I don't think there's anybody here, whether Gen Z or Gen whatever, that would not be able to reckon with that name. And there's a lot of expectation that comes with the name as well. How did you personally reckon to that weight as a young person or as a young artist growing up? Did you ever at one point wanted to step away from it all, or did you feel like it's what shaped who you have become so far?
The latter. It's what shaped who I've become so far. Because of, first, it's the kind of environment that I grew up in, which was very supportive. Because my father had his experiences with, fellas upbringing, which was not converge. And because of the things that he had seen around Kalakuta in, the 80s and 90s, he decided that he wanted to have a very more hands-on approach with his own children. So he was very intentional about, the kind of freedom that I had at the shrine, but also a degree of, discipline and limitations. So I always knew I was a Kuti, but the way that he raised me was not to feel entitled by it. So it was very, very conscious upbringing. Know your history, know your worth, be able to contribute to your, immediate surroundings in a positive way. Be a good person, good morals and values. So that's why, as I grew older, and I really understood the depth of the family and every individual that has done such incredible things, it made me feel inspired as opposed to like pressure.
Mm-hmm. So there was at no point, where you had to feel like, oh, this is the path that has been preordained or predestined for me.
Not
at that point.
Yeah, never. I'm very lucky in that, because the way I was introduced to music wasn't forced towards me. It was me that went, so I grew up in the shrine, which is at Ikeja, the New Africa shrine, and my dad used to play so much, about 4 times every week, and you play for long hours, like 5-hour sets. So I'd go and I'd watch, I'd consume all this music, and then I discovered that that saxophone, I want to learn how to play it. Dad, can you teach me? That trumpet, I want to learn how to play it. Can you teach me? Then piano, then guitar, then drums. So my love for music developed long before I'd even understood that I would want to do it as a profession. So it was lucky that, he never had to say, Mádé, do you want to chase this path or not? Yeah, so I just naturally.
There was already a conditioning, but it's something that you embraced by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because he would also take me on tour. He'd also take me to the studio. So maybe he was
conditioning. But again, you had to wholly embrace it.
Because I could have
well.
done the opposite. I could have really fought against it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so good to know. That's one parenting tip we have to take from you. I know that this is not a parenting podcast, but please, parents, take notes. So how many instruments do you play?
So regularly, I play the trumpet, the sax, and the piano. Irregularly, I play the drums and the bass guitar. So I toured with my dad as a bassist for about 2 years. And now I picked up the lead guitar for a few of my tracks, because it's really nice to play live. So about, what's that? 6, 7? Yeah. On my first album, I played everything myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Well, talking about album, let's come to your most recent album. And it's I'm very particular about this one because of, the title and the lyrics that comes with it. And let's just go deep dive into what some of the things you've shared through that album. You titled the album, Where Does Happiness Come From? Right? That's a big existential, it's a deep question, when you say deep and all of that. So what pushed you to put that question forward?
There are many sort of reasons, and I think top two, the first one was myself. It was introspective. It was me as a creative and an artist wanting to release something that reflected where my head and my heart was at the time. And it was really around purpose and value and, like you said, not an existential crisis, but existential questions. Where's the purpose of all of this? And at the end of the day, it sort of narrows down to purpose of living, like happiness and joy. And where does that come from? And is it something we strive for, or is it something that we have to appreciate regardless of, where we are at? And the second reason was because it just felt like the world was regressing politically and culturally, that people were repeating mistakes. We're going to war, we are committing genocide, we are being significantly less intelligent about world politics than we used to be. And all these unions that created for peace are suddenly being dismantled. And I just thought, how is it that a species that's supposed to be the most intelligent on the planet can be so used to repeating fundamental mistakes and so confidently? So that was the second thing that led to the title, Where Does Happiness Come From? Because clearly it's not from where these world leaders are taking us.
Yeah, so I want you to, I know this question, I want you to answer it.
Okay.
Where does happiness come from?
So I think it's subjective. A lot of people will tell you that. So it depends on where you're at. Someone that is in a financial struggle, for example, will tell you without any hesitation that it's money. That's what he needs or she needs at that point in time. But someone with a lot of money will tell you that money doesn't bring happiness. Do you know what I mean? So I think for me, I have balance. I have a good amount of money. I'm not rich. I'm not wealthy, but I can get by. I may not be able to buy a sports car, but I can take my wife on holiday. Do you know what I mean? And I'm also very passionate about what I do. So my reason for living is something that I'm very proud of. So I take a lot of time practicing my instruments. I pour my heart out into my music, and I have a fantastic supportive system. So my wife, my dad, my mom, aunties, uncles, even my teachers, and my younger siblings. So I have a lot of love around me. So looking at my life, I realized that it was sort of a compound effect. Was within myself, happiness was from within for me, in that the things I did, I loved. And I have no sort of regret for the kind of path that I'm living. And then secondly, it was from the people around me, the love that I had around me. So I think for me, happiness comes from sort of perspective, understanding who you are, first knowing yourself, and then keeping the right people around you. And then you can be a positive contributor to society. Otherwise, I think people just create a lot of toxicity into the world.
Exactly. This is such a profound conversation. And the reason this is important to me is, like we're saying off cam, there are many young people who have this pressure to become. And we can't even blame them, because the society, if you're not pushing yourself, society will even push you.
Yeah.
When you open social media, there's something always going on. And so we tend to want to put our happiness on the externalities, on the definition of what society have called success to be.
Yeah.
This, what you have shared so far is about being contented. But we still have young people who, either for the sake of being ambitious or not just being contented with where they are, or placing their happiness on other factors other than themselves, they live with this pressure.
Yeah. Like I think ambition is a good thing, because it's like a competitive society is not necessarily an unhealthy society. It's not. I feel like, for example, one of my great heroes on the saxophone, other than my father, would be like Coltrane or Charlie Parker. When I hear them play and I see how fantastic they are, I want to be able to do the things that they do. I may not ever reach that standard of musicianship, but I aspire to it. And when you see and play with your peers, you want to be as good, and you want to each be able to do things that push yourselves to prove that you are indeed putting the right amount of effort and grind into the art. So I think that's good. It's nice to want to do better. What I think the danger is the reason for wanting to be better. So I feel like if what's driving you is like an inferiority complex, then that is something that is never truly satisfied. It's like a bottomless hole. You always find something to feel inferior about, and it's more towards the direction of self-satisfaction, I think. So, for example, as a musician, I want to be the best that I can be. So I have never felt that I am good enough. But I don't feel sad about that, because every day I wake up and I try to be better because I love improving myself. So if it was something, or if I was in a field that I suppose I didn't really enjoy, and I had to do this 9 to 5 every single day, and I didn't understand the purpose behind it, then I feel like depression could set in. So yeah, I think it's more about value.
Yeah, so, taking up from what you've shared so far, how would young people or artists generally, because I think that it's even more for people who interface with the public. For us who work 9 to 5, we are not, in quote, celebrities and all.
Yeah.
So we could hide behind all of that.
Yeah.
But for artists, celebrities who are constantly having to put up a show, how do you think that, they can, from your own experience, your
Yeah.
wealth of knowledge, they can navigate this cycle and ending cycle of pressure and
Yeah, so I think that's the onus for those ones are really on the artists. It's the kind of so I know certain people that put on a persona, for their public image or their brand.
Yeah.
And that comes with its toll. It means everywhere you go, you have to be that person. Whereas if you're sort of unashamed of yourself, you're not putting on a mask every time you step outside. So for me, it's whoever I am at home. I may be more playful at home, or free, but I don't have to force myself to be someone else every time. So for example, to find me in a club will be nearly impossible, because I know I don't enjoy being there. So it's not my space. So, but if I wanted to be a bit more commercial with my music, I would have to be there, because that is the way, that those are the spaces I need to be seen in. Those are the communities I need to present myself in, and I will hate it. So I would rather have an anime watch party.
Right.
So I do things that I love, and also it's also the community around me. I saw from my father and fella that it's so easy when you are not even necessarily big or popular, but to have the worst people around you, and it's really hard to identify, because they say all the best things. They hail you, they'll praise you. It got so bad that fella at a point, he banned people from hailing him in his surroundings. So you couldn't, all that Abamieda, Elenio, he stopped it, because he discovered that these people were not genuine. And I saw it around my father as well, from the band members that would run away on tour to friends that would, stab him in the back. So I have a handful of people, that I keep very close to myself, and that's other than family. And that's all I need. So it's the responsibility of the artist and creative, or sports person, wherever the field is that is in a public space, to be careful about who they keep around them and how they present themselves in public.
Yeah, and what I hear as well is the accolades, understanding that people are definitely going to clap.
Yeah.
There's one evil adage, permit me, I cannot say it, but something like they will be clapping for the mosquito until it follows the grave or something, dead body into the grave, and they keep clapping.
Okay.
And then the fly is dancing and parading itself, being excited with the applauds, not knowing it's going into the grave. And that's one thing to just keep your head at, like, regardless of the applauds, And that thing you said is perception.
Yeah.
I know we have to put up an image, especially if you're a public figure, but as much as possible, align the perception with reality.
Yeah.
Let it be closely knitted. Might not be, of course, your reality, that's who you are behind the scene, might not be 100% exactly with the public image, but it should be aligned.
It should be aligned, It shouldn't be contradictory.
Exactly. So that's such a powerful thing to note. Let's come to your creative process.
Yes.
For somebody who is such a deep thinker, I feel like you're a philosopher. With this that you shared so far, right? What's your creative process like, especially for the album that you've been able to, bet out?
Um, so I prioritize music myself, and
Mm.
I have to find balance between experimentation and my fans. So I have to make sure that as much as I enjoy trying new things with music, it is not, I'm not being selfish with who I want to share the music with. So it has to be, even if I'm pushing boundaries, it has to be something that people can hear and enjoy. And so that's the first thing I do. So I make sure that I understand that I'm making music to be listened to, not for myself. But somebody I really respect that I'm playing with on Sunday at the Runway Jazz Festival, a incredible American trumpeter called Wynton Marsalis. He said when they asked him that, does he make music for himself or for the people to listen to? And he says, music is of course for people to listen to, but the first listener is yourself. So I have to appease myself and also know that I'm trying to please people. So I make sure that the music I make, I have to enjoy it. So I love everything I make, and then I try and hope that other people will as well. So I write everything myself. I compose all my music myself. I write all my lyrics myself, and I produce myself as well. But I share production. So I write. It might start with a very small musical idea, like a bass pattern, develop the drums, develop guitar pattern, deal with the rhythm section, then go to the horn section, full on textures and structure. And then maybe I might put lyrics last, or I might start with lyrics. It really depends on the track. Yeah.
That's so. Talking about producing also for the fans and for the audience.
Yeah.
There's something they call for the audience of one. There's some creatives you listen to. They said, as far as one person likes my music, I'm good. But we know that they still. I would not want to put my investment, my time to something, and it's just a few persons. So what do you think about visibility as well in all of this?
I think it's a gamble, Sometimes it's the strangest things that gain the popularity of the kind of acceptance that you would want. And other times it's something else. And I just think that what we cannot do as creatives, even though it's a gamble, is feed all our attention into that market. We can't say that we have to find what is, because truly as a musician, as much as I respect the audience, I can't believe that the audience is as musically inclined as I am. So it's the same as I expect like a director or an actor would view it. He is the professional. He's the one that spent years studying this thing, has looked into the theoretical side of it and to the practical side of it. He must trust that he knows more.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's look at it from a chef's perspective as well. You know what is healthy and you know what isn't. You're not going to, because people love McDonald's, you're going to give them the same unhealthy diet over and over again. Or you can decide to try and challenge them and say, yeah, I know you like this burger, but try this. It doesn't taste bad. It tastes really nice. It might be an acquired taste, but it's incredible for you. You'll see the effects. So we have to separate ourselves from the consumer in a healthy way and trust that we know what is best. It is not necessarily just about enjoyment, but art is also about enlightenment and inspiration. So yeah, it's hard. So that visibility that we try to strive towards, it's a gamble. It's hoping that it works, because if we use the visibility as a measuring stick, as a metric, it will dilute what we're capable of, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I think you're a philosopher. Like, man, yeah. It tells from your music as well. The next question that comes to my mind is, and I know many people are asking, but Mádé, you mentioned your father, you mentioned your great-grandfather. So with all of that legacy and the solid background that you come from, you must have gotten everything too easy. It says that even right now, maybe you probably don't have any problems. You've got it. You set your mind to do something and you do it. You have no fears. You have no challenges. I want you to speak to that. First of all, are you a normal human being in that regard, where everybody has some sort of struggle, or you are in the superhuman category?
I find That's a very good question, because so I feel like that people might misunderstand the family. We're not, so we are good in the sense that we do not struggle financially, but we are not rich. Do you know what I mean? We are wealthy in heart and in being able to provide for ourselves. Like I said, my dad has one car. Do you know what I mean? The first car he ever got, he bought himself when he was about 40. And he is the type of person that bought a house, built the house. He spent like 5 years before he got furniture, but the first thing he put in the house was a swimming pool.
Oh, okay.
And he did that because he sort of prioritized experience over sort of materialistic aesthetics. So as a child, when I grew up in the house, I didn't even know that it was commonplace that people would have couches in their living room.
Wow.
Because it didn't matter.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I was just going into GS3 or something, or GS2, when he got the first set of couches. And it was such a big deal, like, wow. And, people will be thinking, that's Femi Kuti, man. There's no way his house. And today, if you walk into the house, it looks like a palace. But it took years and years and years of him, going on tour, spending money in the right places. So first, that is what I saw. So I saw that my family was not materialistic, and they prioritized their own comfort before anybody else's. And the shrine was there since I can remember. So we always had a place to perform. We always had a place to rehearse. I understood that we were comfortable, and I never thought that we were richer than, other people. So I always wanted to be able to be the best version of myself. So one instrument, for example, if you say you want to pick up the saxophone or the piano, it doesn't matter what family you come from. It doesn't matter who your father is. It really doesn't even matter how much you love the instrument. If you do not practice the right amount of hours, you simply will not be able to play that instrument. Right. And it's the practicality of music doesn't care about your origin, or your heritage. You either sound good or you sound bad when you play a sax. You either sound good or you sound bad when you play the trumpet. And so for my own dilemma, for someone that decided to be, I want to be a multi-instrumentalist, I have to allocate that much time to that many instruments in my life. So I'm quite comfortable playing the sax. The trumpets, I'm good at, but I still have a lot of work to do. The piano I studied exclusively for many years, and it took me a while to be able to get the diploma. It's like a grade 8 plus diploma, the ATCL diploma on piano. And then I did that entire album where I played all the instruments myself. Even the producer that was on the album was saying, Mádé, you're not going to record this thing in 16 days, right? There's no way you're going to, 8 days. There's no way you're going to finish. And I did.
In how many days?
Less than what we were. I don't remember the exact figure.
Less
number.
than 8 days.
It was either less than 8 or less than 12. It was between 8 to 12 days. But I think I finished in 8, and we had about 4 more days.
Point is, you did it.
I did it.
Regardless.
Yes. So, an entire album. And these are things that I do for myself because I thought that would be such an incredible challenge. And now the thing about it coming easy to me, it's such a blessing that I'm a part of this family. I do not take a single thing for granted, not the love, not the opportunities like the shrine that exists, not the advantages of being able to, navigate certain spaces because of the heritage. But I also know full well the kind of difficulties and challenges that I face because of the family. It's not for me to complain that, because I'm a Kuti, this and that.
Yeah.
Because the blessings are so much and the good are so much. And I don't want to satisfy people's curiosity because they're trying to downplay what I may be experiencing. I'm not going to tell you that this is hard or this is what I've had to deal with just to make you feel better.
But you
yeah,
you are relatable.
Yeah,
grass to grace and all of those stories, soft stories.
I think it's enough to just say everybody has their own challenges. Everybody has things that every single person is human. Everybody needs to find value in themselves. They need to put in work into something. They found walls that they found impossible to overcome. They found themselves in instances that they don't even know what the right answer to questions are. Even with people, with relationships, with their own profession. So I think generally it's just a bad thing to assume that somebody has it. It might be easier than you, but it might be harder than somebody else. Nobody's life is, quite, you can't measure up. There's no
There's always somebody you're better than.
there's always
Somebody that is better than.
yeah,
in
there's
that
always
sense.
in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
And I feel like everybody has a leverage.
Yes.
Every human being
Yes.
has some sort of leverage.
And with everything that is good, there is always it might not be balanced, but there's always challenges on the flip side.
Absolutely. So for anybody listening, I'll be like, okay, so how do you deal with them? You don't have to give us specific. Are they value system or habits or you?
I just like you said I turned 30, and how did I feel about it?
Yeah.
So throughout my life, because I've been so involved with, I know it sounds selfish, but with myself, but because I know that the only way I can be good enough for the people around me is that I'm good enough for myself. So I just thought early on I wanted to do something in my career that made me proud. And that was the album that I played, All the Things Myself. And that album I did with my father earned me a Grammy nomination.
Yes.
I didn't plan that.
Oh, I should have made this in the
But
introduction.
I was very happy. So that's something I'm very proud of.
Yes.
I put a band together that plays my music. Now we've played Paris, we've played South Africa, we've played Zanzibar, we're playing Berlin and Paris again this month. And I'm really proud of that, and it's because of the music that I spent hours writing, hours working with the band. I mean, we used to do rehearsals from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. They used to hate me because of how much work I was putting into, I was making them do. And then I found love, and I didn't downplay what I was feeling, because I could have said, no, I'm young. I want to wait till my mid-30s before I settle down. No, I understood the value of that relationship. I saw how much she loved me. I saw how much she loved my music, how much she loved my art. And I said, Madam, we're in this together. Are you with me? And now we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. So, I found love. I'm settled. I have a comfortable home. I have a profession I love. And still, I'm striving for so much more, because it's human nature, to never be quite fully satisfied where you are. So I'm content, but I know that the only reason I can feel the way I feel is because I've been able to make decisions that have prioritized the longer road as opposed to like more immediate satisfaction. So I just think that, so challenges, it's really hard. Sometimes you wake up and you don't want to practice.
I'm not doing it, guys.
Yeah,
oh my
you
God.
pick up that trumpet and you're like, fuck, not today. But you know that you go for 2 days without playing the trumpet. You sound terrible by the third day. So I don't have a choice. And I prioritize discipline, because I know if I don't feel like it today, the way I sound the following week, I'll be very happy because I put in the work, the week before. I know that sometimes love takes a lot of patience. It's not like Nedu and I have never fought, But in those fights, it's wanting, okay, let's calm down. Let both of us relax.
It's not about both of us.
It's not about both of us. Let's look at the issue at hand. How did we get here, and how do we? And then we check the, the beginning and the real source of the argument, not to prove that either of us was right, but to prevent it from happening. Again, that takes a lot of work in a relationship. And Nedu and I are so comfortable that when we're in public, we just be ourselves, And even family, I have 5 siblings that are younger than me. Each one is so different from the other. And, they can be so beautiful, but they can be so problematic. Like myself, I can be so problematic. And we have to all learn from each other. So now the eldest other than myself is 18. So now he's a man. And
So you're older than 5?
Sorry?
So you are the first of 6.
I'm the first of 6, yes.
So I'm also the first of 6.
There you
And I
go.
can understand
So
what you're saying.
it's a lot. So brother Mádé, you've done what again? Why? So but then you know that you made the same mistakes when you were their age. So it's like, okay, now let's do it like this. What do you need? And you have to be present for them. So that takes a lot of effort, but it comes from a place of love. So every day is a challenge, waking up is a challenge to go to work. So you just have to, first of all, appreciate that you're alive. I think that's something that a lot of us may take for granted, that you are able, you can walk, you can talk, you can eat good food, you can speak to people, you can meet and just live, because it's finite. One day we're not going to have this, and we're just granted with the opportunity to experience life. And first, that is the most important thing, and then you can now start to navigate other spaces.
Yeah. So I know that I've gotten a lot of key takeaway, but I always don't like to do all the talking. I allow my guests to talk, but it's very important I point out one of many things that you said, because you mentioned if you don't play today or the next 2 days, you will not like how you sound like the next week or something like that. And we can relate it to the work of our hands.
Yeah.
Just to say this to young people or to anybody, that you just have to keep at it.
Yeah.
Because when you put your hands off to say, oh, I'm not going to refine that skill, you're not better off for it. Yeah. And so you just have to keep at it, even when you don't feel like it. Because at the end of the day, next week is going to thank you for the investment that you did the days before.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym.
Exactly. And building that muscle as well. Yeah. Very important. Before, you're going to tell us your rollout plan, as much as you want to share what we're going to expect. But before we get there, very striking, and I could relate when you were talking. I got married at the point where I'm a career person, very quite ambitious and all of that. And when I announced my engagement, I got lots of calls. Hey, Victoria, are you sure who is this person? Actually, when you're young and you're in quote, it seems like you're doing well. Yeah. People are scared that marriage is going to dampen you or take away from you. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if that is in your case because you're a guy, but for young ladies that are seen to be ambitious, if you feel like marriage is going to take away from you, I want you to speak to that, because that has not been my case. I'm very grateful to be married to a great guy that has I feel like two, when they say one will chase 1,000, two will chase 10,000 has been my reality, because I'm now better off than the Victoria they thought was before. Yes. Right. But how have you been able to, what do you think about this?
What I think is, it's not marriage, it's who you marry now. Really. And it's also how you deal with the sort of institution of marriage. What does marriage mean to you? And if you and the person that you're getting married to are not on the same page, then obviously you're very likely to encounter very big life changing issues down the line. And I also think, so I know a lot of people that, for example, having a kid is the incentive for marriage. So you are just seeing each other, but suddenly you're pregnant and now you feel like you're responsible for this. And I don't think marriage is something you should enter into as a duty.
Wow.
It's something that you should really participate in because you want that person that you are with, you want that person in your life. When you wake up in the morning, you want to see that person. And when you're not with that person, even though you can be okay, it still feels strange. So Nedu and I, for example, we do everything together. And if I share some of the things that we do as a habit, it's like, guys, shut up, Jerry, or you're doing too much at this point. But we don't do it.
Right.
For example, okay, I'll share this. It's so funny, but when we wake up and before we go to bed, we make it a priority to give each other exactly 5 kisses.
5? It has to be 5. No?
How did it get to 5? I don't know. But somehow we achieved that. And now it has been that for so long. And it's habit now. But it just replenishes you, after dealing with the day, after dealing with life, after dealing with all sorts of issues.
You have your own person.
You have this person that has your back, and you have hers. And it's comfortable. and it is a very beautiful. So I used to have a very bad temper, and it wasn't until I got into my mid-20s that I realized that it was bad. It's not that I got angry quickly, but once I passed the threshold, it was very hard to calm down. And, my dad would sit me down and, Mádé, it is not, you getting angry like this is not good enough. You need to really reflect on the source of this and why you are. And one of the things that has made me really attentive to myself and the way I perceive my temper was because I start and something will happen. I was like, so then because it's her, I don't want to get angry. Okay, Nedu, wait, let's calm down and let's look at this. That was one of the first times I really started to diffuse my anger and not. I don't know if you've ever felt that at the point of that spark, you no longer care about the situation.
Yeah.
It's more about what you're doing in the situation and how you want to prove that
you're valid or your feelings are valid.
Or the person is wrong.
Just want to prove that.
So,
I understand.
And I promised her 2 years ago that before our marriage, or I think right after, that no matter what fight we have now, I'm never going to yell. And I've never yelled since I made that promise. No matter...
You've never yelled?
I've not yelled once, no matter what's there. So at the moment I feel, if ever, because it's very rare that we fight, but if ever, I'll be like, I shut off.
Training.
It's really discipline, And then she might be like, okay, Mádé, let's talk about this thing, because I can speak to you, So it's really, marriage is a lot of willfulness. I think it's something you have to want to do. There was nothing that demanded our marriage other than us wanting to be together. There was no push from our parents. There was no push from our friends. There was no expectation. We spent 2 years together, and then we decided, it was amazing, and we want to just, official. Also, marriage is not the way she views it from a religious perspective is not the way I view it, for example. I don't feel like I am in a contract that is sort of ordained by something
bigger than yourself.
Yeah, or even spiritual. I think it's, this is where we have very interesting perspectives. For me, it is very intentional and logical that this is exactly how I view promises. That once you decide to do something and you commit to it, you do everything in your heart to make it so. Because I've also seen a lot of marriages fall apart that are, sort of religious based. I'm not saying that it's wrong.
Yeah. So maybe I'll take our own perspective, because the two can coexist where you're intentional about it, or you also know that it's also spiritually binding.
Exactly.
But you're also bringing the logic and intentionality to it as well. Yes. So it's two.
It is. And the way I see it as well is, she's Christian and I'm not, but it's our religious balance is such that we don't impose. Okay, let me say it this way. I'm honest enough to know that I don't have the answers, right? And I know that Christian morality has a lot of positive contributions to the way society functions today. And when I speak of my ancestors, for example, if I buy shinap and before I travel, I just, pour it on the ground.
But that's religious.
No, it's not religious. I think is it's more of an institution. So this to me is just I don't want to say spiritual, but but that's sort of what it is. She doesn't find that strange to look at, because she understands that what I'm doing is I'm paying homage to people that have existed before me. It's giving thanks to, Femi Kuti, Fela, my great-great-grandfather, Israel Oludoto Kuti, for, allowing Fela be a musician, for being a composer himself, and believing that there's somewhere
Yeah.
in the afterlife, perhaps watching us. Maybe, I don't know.
That's still spiritual.
Yeah,
I just think it's different there. It's
different.
basically the same.
Yeah.
It's just who you're targeted. What will I say? Targeting your own posture to.
Yeah.
That's what's different.
Yes. So you see that could be conflict in a marriage for a couple that didn't understand each other's perspective, So that's what I mean. It's just willfulness. It's wanting to be together, wanting to understand the other person.
And navigating
the differences and prioritizing what you can, see and feel. So each other's values and things like that. So yeah, it's a choice.
This has been a refreshing. See how we've moved from music to life philosophy, and now we've entered marriage counseling. It's been interesting. So now let's talk about Mádé, the musician.
Yeah.
I know that there's a whole lot that in fact, with this album, just take us, through the plans, the roadmap, even 2026. What are we expecting? What should we start aligning ourselves to? What do you want, with this?
So the recent album, Chapter 1, Where Does Happiness Come From, was, like we said earlier, an album that is trying to project questions about life. And it's composed for myself and for the listener. And its intention is for people to feel enlightened and inspired when they listen to it. Now, it's a 13-track album, and each track is different from the next. It's a lot of adventure musically that I really enjoyed doing. And in terms of, post-marketing after the album, we have a couple shows in Lagos. We have the Runway Jazz Festival this Sunday. We have, we're playing at the Fela exhibition on the 30th or 31st of October. We're in Berlin on the 15th, and on the 20th, we're in Paris. And in November, we're in Lagos. We have a couple shows. And in December, we'll most likely have the Father, Son, and Holy Smoke event. That's how my auntie titles it. Where it's really just myself, my dad, and my uncle. So we're playing one final end of year concert at the Shrine. And next year for 2026, more shows. We might be in America, in the States in January. And more to come after that.
More to come. So how do people connect with you? Of course, your social media handle.
Mádé Kuti on Twitter.
Mádé.
Yes, personal assistant and everything.
Executive assistant. Manager, everything, all in all.
Yes.
Great. So Mádé Kuti
on Twitter. And Mádé Kuti everywhere else.
Everywhere else. Great. We've had such a great time. I want us to keep going on, but we would have to wrap it up here. Thank you for your time. Before we go, I want you to give final words from the musician personal standpoint, and then general life summary.
Okay, from a musician standpoint, you have as a creative and an artist, you have a responsibility to be the best version of yourself, and sharing with people something that is challenging, because that is what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to inspire and push people to be more. And from, life, really just be the best version of yourself again. Be a good sister, be a good brother, be a good child, be a good parent, be a good friend. Live with integrity in your profession and contribute to society in a positive way. Don't make Nigeria worse than it already is. So all of us have a part to play. And hopefully by doing that, the world will actually be a better place.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been such a great delight having you again. Good conversation. I'm sure that you got a lot of Eureka moments where you jotted things down and all of that. But beyond that, this conversation is not just for the now. It's not just for the moment. It's something to drive you through the season. Like I mentioned, at the introduction when I asked you, how does it feel to turn 30?
Yeah.
Is it just normal? I'm turning 30 soon as well. And I'm looking forward to it. I have a rollout plan of what I want to do and all of that. But beyond the age and the milestone is knowing that, we're all winging it. There's something profound you said when I asked you that even if you've not figured it all out at some point, but there's something that you've done, no matter how small, that you can hold on to.
Yeah.
It's normal. I mean, you mentioned that it's normal for you to want to do more.
Yeah.
Because when you look at your peers,
Yeah.
you are either inspired or intimidated by what they are doing. I'm paraphrasing in case you're wondering when you said this.
Intimidated? No, I don't think. I think inspired.
Inspired. That's what I'm saying. For other people, they might be
but
inspired.
you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Don't be
And there's a thin
intimidated.
line between being inspired and being intimidated.
Yes.
So you need to watch it.
You need to watch it, and you need to.
Exactly.
It's from yourself. It's how you consume, information. It really comes from your intentions. You have to be. I think being intimidated again stems from that complex of inferiority, and nobody needs that.
Yeah.
Every single person is the only version of themselves that could exist. Nobody is Victoria Ndu.
Absolutely.
Right? And you have a responsibility, like I have a responsibility, to be the best version of myself. Not the best, for example, not the best Kuti, but the best Mádé Kuti. So I think that's what you have to separate inspiration from intimidation. Yeah.
I think that's such a powerful closing. There's no need of doing my own closing anymore. Thank you so much for watching the show. Do please follow us on our social media handle, Mádé Kuti everywhere, and Mádé Kuti on Twitter, at Voices with Victoria, and share this video if this has been such an impactful one for you. Stream, look forward to the city that Mádé is going to come in with his music and all of that, and just keep tabs on everything that he's doing and producing. This is such a deep person, and as you can tell from the interview, and I'm sure that his work is going to be a huge blessing to you. Until next time, do well to have a great and fantastic time.
Thanks for watching Voices with Victoria. Please like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share. Cheers!